Welcome to Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Ben Roof. We've got a great show in store for you today, where we'll be doing our weekly check-in with our adorable friends over at Nuzzles Co. And then we'll be checking in with an amazing app to help students apply for financial aid this summer. But first, let's check in with a little bit of local news. The construction is finally underway on the Ross Creek Trail at the Jordanelle State Park after a long and heavy winter. It's going to be a fantastic upgrade, providing a bunch of new amenities, including a paved parking space, cabanas with picnic tables, a sand beach, and much more. But the Ross Creek Trail will be closed until that construction is complete. I'm sure the park is going to be absolutely packed this holiday weekend. But before you make your Sunday plans, let's take a look at the local weather.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to the show. As we're starting to get into summer, students are starting to prepare for college. And one of the most important things for college is figuring out how to fund our college experiences. And we're now joined by Jennifer Finetti of Scholarship Owl, who is an expert in this space to help us kind of experience or explore scholarship opportunities. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how the scholarship and the college funding environment looks like right now. It's been a little while since I applied myself.
Absolutely. So, students should always submit the FAFSA in October of every year because you need that to apply for federal and state grants. But you can also apply for scholarships. I strongly recommend that students apply for scholarships from the universities they're applying from, scholarships that are local in their own community, and also scholarships from private organizations like what we have on the Scholarship Owl platform.
Awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about the differences between those different kind of categories with the scholarships? I know can be some huge differences between federal and state aid and some of the private offers that are out there.
For sure. So, federal and state grant aid would be money you do not have to repay. And of course, if you take out student loans, that would be money you do have to repay. Scholarships are also funds you do not have to repay. So we really encourage students to focus, first of all, on federal and state grants, and secondly, on scholarships, because the last thing you want to do is graduate college with the burden of debt. Universities that you apply for, they offer lots and lots of scholarships. Many times they're offering them as recruitment enticements. So that's one of the differences between a university scholarship and a private external scholarship. So for example, you could apply to a private university and you might be offered a scholarship of, let's say, $10,000 a year for all 4 years, which is amazing. But if that college normally charges $50,000 a year for you to attend, all included with tuition and room and board, then getting a discount of $10,000 sounds really nice, except that you still owe $40,000, right, per year. So it's really important that you understand, what the total cost of attendance will be minus whatever grant aid you're going to get, as well as minus whatever scholarships you're going to get, so that you can determine your total out-of-pocket cost. When you go to a public university, they may not offer quite as many large scholarships, but the total cost of attendance will be less. So it's important that you evaluate, when you're applying to college, is this a private school? Is this an out-of-state school, which tends to also cost more? or is it a public in-state university? And then compare that to your total financial aid and scholarship offer to determine which one is going to be most affordable for you.
That totally makes a lot of sense to me. It parallels my own experience when I was applying for colleges. I went to college in Colorado and was looking between CU Boulder and the University of Denver. Despite being half the cost at CU Boulder, the University of Denver offered me almost $50,000 in scholarship opportunities, which ended up making it way the cheaper option.
That's awesome.
Let me ask you this. I know when I was applying, there were tons of scholarship offers from nonprofits, businesses, from all sorts of parts of the community. And one of the things that always stuck with me is the Barbie Scholarship. My freshman year of college, the Barbie Scholarship went to a man because he was the only person who applied. So
wow.
Tell me a little bit about how Scholarship Owl can help students look for some of those more obscure and more unique scholarship opportunities.
You know, we've got so many scholarships on our platform throughout the whole year. One of the mistakes that students make is they apply for scholarships maybe only during a month or two of the school year. But, you know, right now this summer, it's a fabulous time to apply for scholarships. At any given time, we usually have about $800,000 or more in available scholarships. So I really encourage students to apply to scholarships year round. One of the things that makes us different is that rather than Googling for scholarships, which is what so many people do, and it can be really frustrating and overwhelming, is that we've got the scholarships right in our platform, making it really easy for students. We're also AI powered. And so, you know, the more you use our platform to apply for scholarships, the more relevant your matches are going to be. We have lots of special tools that you won't find anywhere else. Like, for example, you can see how many other members of Scholarship Owl apply for each scholarship, so that you can look at it and focus on low competition scholarships. We also have credibility scores to make sure you're applying for scholarships that are really worth your time and effort. So there's a lot of really great things within our platform that make it not only faster and easier to apply for scholarships, but that also boost your chances of actually winning those scholarships.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the tools that Scholarship Owl offers to help assist with some of those AI-powered tools. Like, is it anything like how some of those online job applications kind of help autofill some of the more common parts of these forms?
Yeah, that's a great question. And with Scholarship Owl, you actually don't have to fill out any application forms. So it's one of the things we do is exactly what you just said. So when you fill out your profile on Scholarship Owl, we automatically port that data to all of the applications so that you don't have to fill out your name and your mailing address and your email address and your year in school and your GPA and your major and all those things that providers want to know about you. It's already in your profile, so we just put it into the applications for you. So that's just one of the tools. Another thing that we do is we send weekly AI-powered recommendations to you every single week. And as you use the platform more and more over time, those matches and recommendations are going to be more relevant to you because, you know, kind of like Amazon, when you buy something and it says, here are some other things that people like you have bought. It's sort of like that, right? Where we send these recommendations to you that are based on your interests that you've demonstrated by the way you apply for scholarships.
That totally makes a lot of sense, and was something that I've always found incredibly frustrating about applying for anything online is how often you have to resubmit and refill out the same form over and over. And is there any recommendations that you would have for students who are trying to stay motivated when applying for scholarships, or how frequently they should start to look or apply in the summer?
You know, motivation to apply for scholarships is one of the largest problems that we encounter with students across the board. And it's simply because a lot of students, you know, get initially motivated and then they get really overwhelmed with the tediousness and repetitiveness of the process. You know, maybe they don't like applying for essay scholarships, and so many scholarships require an essay, for example. But on our platform, there are lots of scholarships that don't require an essay at all. We do, of course, still have essay scholarships, but we have scholarships where you can apply with a social media link, or you can upload a video or do some kind of artwork if you're an artist. So there's all different kinds of scholarships that help students stay motivated. We also try to have conversations with providers that we work with and encourage them to have the kinds of scholarships that will interest students today. And I think that makes a big difference as well, because, a lot of providers just assume, for example, that you should have an essay because that's what happened when they were applying to college 20, 30 years ago. And now they're in positions to offer scholarships. And so they assume you need to do that. But today's students are different. They're really media savvy. And, so we really try to cater to them with the kinds of scholarships that will appeal to them. And that does help improve motivation.
That's absolutely fantastic. Jennifer, thank you so much for all of this wonderful advice. And before I let you go, do you have one last tip for us?
The most important thing I would say is to not give up. Persistence is really key when it comes to scholarships, and parents can really help with that, really help urge your kids to keep going. And, you can apply for a few scholarships and you sometimes have to wait a few months to find out if you won. Just because you're waiting doesn't mean you should just sit and wait. You should keep on going, keep applying, and really aim for trying to apply to about 3 scholarships per week, if at all possible, year round. And that's really going to increase your odds of winning.
Fantastic. Jennifer Finetti of Scholarship Owl, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for right now. Don't forget to check out these messages and then join us for more right after this. Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. We're joined now by our fuzzy friends over at Nuzzles Co. and Josh, who's there to make sure they stay in front of the camera. Hey Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm terrific. How are you today?
I am doing great. Who do you have with you?
This is Dr. Smolder Bravestone, and some of you might recognize that name from Jumanji. That's the Rock's character. We named him that because he's a stocky little guy, and we're like, let's pick a fun name. And the Rock is a good character or a good actor who embodies kind of the same qualities as him. He's charismatic, stocky guy.
Well, he certainly seems to have a great smile on his face there. What breed is he?
What's that?
What breed?
So he comes from the Ute Ouray Reservation, which means we don't really know a whole lot. He's a rescue, so don't know his mom, don't know his dad. We do know he's about 6 years old, based on the vet looking him over, looking at his teeth and just kind of checking him over. He does have a little bit of arthritis, and a little bit of scarring on his face, actually, but it gives him a little more character. He's really sweet. I actually took him to the senior center in Park City last week to just kind of meet seniors and talk about our program called Seniors for Seniors. Any dog that's 7 years or older is actually free for seniors to adopt.
Wow, that's really awesome. So tell me a little bit more about how people will get involved in the Seniors for Seniors program.
So on our website, we have all our animals listed: cats, dogs. We even have 2 llamas and 3 pigs. For the seniors and seniors, if you see a cat or dog that's 7 years or older, you can email adopt@nuzzlesandco.org, and we'll get right back to you to say, hey, here's some more information about the dog. Maybe we can set up a meet and greet, find out if it's the right fit for you, and answer any questions that you might have.
Well, absolutely fantastic. So tell us a little bit more about who else you might have available for you for adoption this week. You got Dr. Smolder Bravestone, who looks like a very happy pup, but does he have any friends?
He is a happy pup. So we've actually gone and done a couple of rescue programs recently. One, we went to the Ute Ouray Reservation in the Fort Duchesne area, and the other one is at the Navajo Nation in the Four Corners area. And both of those trips, we brought back about 15 dogs per trip. Some of those are puppies, some of those are adults. So we sort of have a big mix of everything right now. When those animals come back, they get looked at by our vet team and then go into quarantine or into a foster home until they're ready for spay, neuter, microchip. And then once those boxes are checked, they're good to go for adoption. And so we have animals in various stages of that right now. But I would say we have a good selection of medium, large, couple small, and a lot of puppies right now that are available.
That's absolutely fantastic. So let me ask you a little bit about just the reservation dogs themselves. I've noticed in my own experience that it seems like because they're kind of a broad mix, genetically, they seem to be a little bit less susceptible to some of those more common diseases that we find in purebred animals. Does that seem to be the case for you?
So we test we do what's called a 40X test when they first come, and it's kind of check for the tick-borne illnesses. We look for Giardia, Parvo, and some other things, and those are the most common problems with the res dogs, is just some of those diseases there. But most of those are prevented by immunization, and we can treat a lot of that stuff pretty quickly. Beyond that, I feel like all the animals that I've interacted with, and I have two res dogs myself, they're healthy, great dogs. Mine are both great trail dogs. They go mountain biking with me, they go hiking with me. And I also see on our alum page a lot of people doing exactly the same thing. Like they tell great stories about these animals and how adventurous they are, and what amazing lives they're leading with those animals.
Well, and that's certainly been my experience too with dogs from reservations, is that they definitely seem to be super happy pups that have a little bit more longevity than you might find if you go to a traditional breeder and go to one of those, a purebred, breed-specific pet.
Right. With purebreds, I mean, you can run into some problems. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. That's a big, long one. One of the conversations we have frequently actually is a misnomer being that, rescue dogs are sort of throwaway animals. Like, nobody wanted them in the first place. And the reality is these animals just need some community support. This dog came from a place where there's just not a lot of resources. And that's why it's ideal to move them over here where there's more resources, find a loving home who can take care of them, and live a wonderful life with a great dog.
I've seen that a lot with our Western communities where people have been moving more and more away from traditional breeders and going to adopt. I don't think I actually know anybody in my own life who's purchased a dog from a breeder. They've all gone through rescues, and I don't think any of them has a single regret. They've all had fantastic pets and, experiences that you can't compare. My dog is from a Texas reservation, and he's been the best. Absolutely, just the best part of my life. I can't imagine it without him.
One of my favorite parts of this job and walking around, Park City doing activities with the community, adoption events. When people see my Nuzzles shirt, they always want to come up and tell me a story about their adoption or their friend or neighbor's dog, or just like, we really love what you do, and maybe they're not in a position to have a dog. So then we talk about volunteer opportunities or foster opportunities, or even just donation or sponsorship opportunities. So there's a million ways you can get involved with rescue. But yeah, I do feel like the community, they love seeing this, they love being a part of it, and it just takes a little bit of time with these dogs to know, wow, there's a lot of love here, and what beautiful creatures they are.
That's fantastic. You beat me to my next question, which was going to be, if people aren't able to get, adopt themselves, how could they help you guys out? And are there any events you guys have coming up soon?
Let's see. We've got a 4th of July event, but it's not a public event. We do Park Silly every Sunday, so you can find us at the bottom of Main Street from 10 to noon. And actually, we're setting up more like at 8:30, so people are already snuggling with puppies between 9 and noon. We bring a handful of puppies, or like we did last week, 8 puppies, and people can cuddle with them, they can adopt them, and then we always bring some Nuzzles merch. So for the summertime, that's going to be the easiest way to find us, is at the Park Silly Market. And then you can pay attention to the website and our social media platforms, and we'll announce all the fun stuff that we're doing when we're about in the community.
Fantastic. Josh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us as always. It's always fun to be here and show off one of our amazing dogs. Thanks, bud.
Well, he looks like he needs a good ear scratching, so I will let you go to take care of that.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And make sure to check out the Park Silly Market to see some of the adorable Nuzzles Co pets that are up for adoption. And of course, check them out at nuzzlesandco.com or on all the social medias. We'll be right back after a short break.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun & Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Thank you so much for joining us for this Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. I've been your host, Ben Roof, and don't forget to check in with us tomorrow, where we will check out the new Murray location for Sun and Ski, and we're going to get some great tips to help prepare for the 4th of July. We'll see you then.